So I decided to do a stone carving. I've had the tools and equipment for a few years. After I did a week-long course where I did a relief carving, I carved a Celtic knot. I decided to go with a human head just because, one, I've drawn lots of portraits, so I thought it was something I knew very well and wouldn't be super difficult, other than the fact that it's quite fine features and things like that. And I am interested in faces and people, and I think that's most of the art that I enjoy from other people is usually figurative. So this alien-like face, I was aware from the start that it would all have to get a lot smaller because working 3D, obviously the most prominent point is usually the nose on someone's face, and everything else is going to have to come back from there. Working in 3 dimensions is so very different from working in 2D, and I hadn't quite made that distinction. But the good thing about doing this and just jumping in is I'm learning a lot along the way. I can't take away too much matter because there's no putting it back, so I'm sort of very slowly trying to work out how I can do this without chipping out a piece that I'll later need. There's something, I think it's therapeutic, but it's equally frustrating. It's a very difficult medium to work with. It's unforgiving, you can't make mistakes, much more difficult to undo than something that you can remodel, for example, clay. I jumped into this with no real plan, which was kind of the plan, but having attempted this, I think next time I would make maquettes, I would play around with clay, I would really look at it from every angle. But I think there's a lot to be said for working across different mediums and 2D and 3D, because I'm looking at the way faces form in a way that I never do when drawing. So I'm seeing a lot more about angles and the way faces recede in certain ways. When it comes to drawing or painting in 2 dimensions, you can have a much better idea of what those shadows are representing and what those hints of highlight, or so you can then really start emphasizing the perspective in different ways. Yeah, that's why I'm a big advocate of trying lots of things and staying across different fields in art and not pigeonholing yourself. That being said, there's a lot to be said for mastering techniques and putting in a lot of time with certain techniques. But I'm not sure I've found something that I could stick with permanently yet. I like to try different things because it keeps it exciting, keeps it interesting. Much more room for discovery, experimentation.